What's going on, guys? So before the video starts, I want to just say a quick shout out to the guys who joined the queue and Roundtable Alliance. So I got to the end boss, struggling, so I basically went to the Alliance and the guild chat and I typed in to see who would join and help me out with the rest of the video. So shout out to all of those who decided to help out. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So let's get straight into it. Here we go. Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Viaran and today I thought I would take you back in time to pre-Mod 16 where scaling wasn't a thing, the combat system didn't change and everything was all good and lively inside of Neverwinter. So I want to show to you how we as console players used to actually test our builds, and we don't have act logs or anything like that, so in terms of numbers and how much damage we were doing, we couldn't really test in that way. So back in the day, we used to private queue and we used to go solo a dungeon. The dungeon would be Shores of Torn, or Shores of Tion, or however you want to say it. So let's find it. And I can't find it. Okay, there it is. So we would go in Shores of Torn. So we can't actually do this anymore because of dungeon scaling. The reason we used to do it is because it was a test for our characters. And basically, instead of looking at the numbers, because obviously you'd usually get the same numbers in each run, and we're still waiting for the map, so I'll just keep talking, but we didn't really rely on numbers to actually see where our builds were at. We relied on the time. Now, I know a lot of people weren't actually around in pre-Mod 16, so they don't know how the game was, but the game was super fun, super enjoyable. You could farm literally everything. You could farm astral diamonds with the salvage anvil. It was just a really good time. So what we did is we went in, we did the very first run. The very first run is like a banker time. And what I mean by banker time is that's the time you set yourself to beat. Obviously, because we're all squishy, we can't actually do this anymore, and we're not putting out the damage that we should actually be putting out. So we're just testing our scaled character. We're not actually seeing our true DPS from our character. So we'd come in here, we do the very first run, and let's say you did it in about 4 minutes back then. That would be your banker time for your first run. Now the runs after that, you'll be trying to beat that time. So you want to do this dungeon as fast as you can. This is how console players, including myself, I'm a barbarian, this is how we used to test our builds and test to see maybe if we were ready for Cradle, which was top dog back then, or T9 or whatever. But now, because of the scale content, as you can see, I am dying left, right and centre. Well, I haven't died yet, but you've seen my health. Scale content, I've had this conversation with a lot of people outside of YouTube. I've had a lot of talk about this with friends, and I haven't found anyone that has actually said scale content belongs in the game. So I don't know what the devs were thinking. I understand that they didn't want people just carrying people through content, but people don't want to learn content anyway. At least when people were getting carried through, they were actually succeeding and they were having fun. I enjoy carrying people through because it was like a flex. I got to show off my build. I'd spent so long on my build and I got to show off. Now, the content's that hard because of the scaling. Even on, I'm scaled down to 15k right now. And look at how much I'm dying. I'm 70k. Are you telling me that this is scaled properly? I mean, I understand that I'm on my own and I need a healer and I need a tank and all this stuff. But this is just a skirmish. Like, you're not even required to take a healer. You're not required to take a tank. You could go in here with all DPS and you can just blitz through it. But they've basically taken away a fundamental from console players. As you can see, we died because this is how we tested. This is all we've got. We just rely on the time. We don't have the at logs. We don't have previous server or anything like that. So getting through this content was a challenge in itself. Even back then, it's more challenging back now, but it was even more challenging back then, because don't forget, we are still one person, and this is a 5-person dungeon. So given the fact that we are scaled right now down to 15k, I definitely don't think it's needed at all in the dungeons. I think dungeons are hard enough without being scaled, and also if you've actually put in the time to max out your damage, to max out your item level, you can only see that damage in Voss or Crown of Keldagon, which a lot of people don't enjoy them because they don't feel strong in there, they just feel squishy, and I am one of them people. So I'm not a fan of Voss, I'm not a fan of 10-man trials. I don't mind Demogorgon, but a lot of people hate Demo, and that's why it was taken out of the trial queue. Demogorgon was one of my favourite trials. It was challenging, but it wasn't too challenging. People had to know what they were doing, but that's the same with any content in the game. You have to know what you're doing. So yeah, I don't know how, when it comes to console players, how we're able to test our builds anymore. If someone on console tells you, yeah, I've tested this, if you want to believe them, that's fine, but their testing isn't solid testing. This is why I usually rely on the PC players, you know, Northside, Aragon, to do the testing, and I don't do testing myself, because when a console player tests, it's just not viable. I wouldn't trust myself with testing, because I just don't think console testing is, I wouldn't say it's as convincing as PC testing, because PC they have like act logs, and it basically shows everything. So me personally, I would never trust a console player who says I've tested this, because the testing a console player can do is fairly minimal, and that's just how it is. This, on the other hand, even though this was our way of testing, it was just testing our own characters. Like, I can't go in here and test my character and say, yeah, this is what you should be running if I'm on a barbarian and you're on a hunter ranger, because I don't know if my gear as a barbarian is going to help you as a hunter ranger. So the testing on console was solely based on your own characters, and it was basically just beating your time. So we'll continue on. We've had to put a stone of health on, so it's knocked some time off, but as I said, you can't really do that sort of testing here. I just wanted to show you something that we used to do back in the day. I really hope they make scale content maybe a queue decision. I don't know, maybe you get like more rewards if you scale the content or something like that. Scale content should be our choice. We should be able to enjoy the game how we want to enjoy the game, for the most part. I think if we want to see our full strength character and test him out in something like Shores of Torn, then we should be able to do that without being scaled. It should be our choice, in my opinion. But we're getting to the boss. I think the boss is, from what I remember in scaled, because I have done this before, I think the boss was just stupid difficult, but I did end up killing the rages first, which is something you don't want to do, because you're just going to enrage the boss, and he's going to throw a little bitch fit. And yeah, so we're going to get through these mobs real quick, and we'll get to the final boss. We'll try to kill the final boss, but don't forget, guys, we're even squishier now because Bark Shield isn't a thing. And everyone says, yeah, but we get more item level, blah blah blah. I don't care. I don't care. I miss my Bark Shield. I don't care if we get more stats. I'm still squishy. I'm a rogue. I need some form of defense to help me out a bit, because it's not enjoyable to just keep going down all the time and relying on other people. Like, I might go into a dungeon with a healer who might be a beginner healer, which means I'm basically struggling to get them heals. Of course, everyone else in the group would struggle as well, but you know what I mean. Anyway, we're going to pop this stone of health. We popped on single target. We're going to select that. We're going to head in. What are we on? We're on 8 minutes. Guys, this used to take like 4 minutes. It's ridiculous, honestly. I think the best I got on my Barbarian pre-mod 16 was like, I think it was 3 minutes 18. That's what I think it was. But you got to watch to not kill the rages. I might actually not get through this. I have got through it before, but I haven't popped any sort of buffs, any sort of food. I haven't popped anything. So whatever happens, happens. I'm not even doing my full rotation. I haven't even done my rotation properly since being in here. But we're going to see what we can do. We are trying to take off a bit of health from him, but he's got that many mobs. I cannot do anything. Maybe I'll switch to AoE. We might have to switch to AoE because I am dying by absolutely everything. And this is your scale content, like seriously. I am so far past this content that I can't even do it. I don't care if I'm on my own doing it, like I've grown my character, I should be able to do it. But we're probably gonna get all of our death sicknesses here. Death sicknesses, another thing, does not belong in the game. But we're gonna release, we're not gonna use another scroll, we're gonna go on AoE. Okay guys, we're back. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't do it on my own, so I've grabbed the alliance guys, and we are basically gonna do this, but it's a sorry state of affairs because I used to be able to solo this without an issue, and then with the constant combat changes, we're super squishy. Don't kill them, go straight for the boss. But we should breeze through it now. We got a healer, we got a tank, it's fine. And yeah, we'll breeze through it, but back in the day, this was easily soloable. People didn't do it for rewards. They weren't exactly gaining much out of it apart from salvage gear. They were just doing it to test the builds. But I am just too squishy to be able to solo it. It's a shame, but it is what it is. So we're going to do it, and we're going to thank the alliance, and then we are going to shut the video down. But that is essentially what we used to do as DPS, well, as console players, to test our builds. Tanks used to go into Castle Never and go through it solo. It would take a while, but that's how they knew how good they were. And this is how basically we, I needed to get that off my screen, but this is how we essentially tested our characters. So let's thank everyone down in the Alliance chat. And there you go guys, so let me know what you think about this way of testing. Do you wish it would come back? Maybe you've never experienced this kind of testing, but it looks fun, right? Well, without the scaling, it was definitely fun, and I definitely had a blast pre-mod 16. But let me know how you test your characters. Do you test them at all? I know it's relatively more difficult with the scaling, and because we don't have atlogs and everything, it's relatively difficult. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed this trip back in time. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.